You know, everybody's been doing so good these days. I thought I would reward everybody with some Cyberfrog number 3. You know, you've been keeping up with your bills, you've been paying your bills, you've been being good, or you have ascended. You have realized that bills are a completely arbitrary system invented by the goddamn government. And you realize that paper money is an obsolete form of currency, and the real value is in gold. So before we lose you to the Alaskan wilderness, where no one will attempt to tread on you, let's enjoy some Cyberfrog number 3. So let's look at this cover. We got Cyberfrog, we've got Deathfly, they're locked. Almost said in a battle of wits, but there's nothing witty about this guy's expression. So let's get into this. We see our boy looking absolutely yoked. Like, damn, did he just drink like 4, 5 protein shakes before Ethan drew this? Like, damn. And he starts off by saying, it's been a really sucky evening. And you gotta remember, this is from '96. It makes me think, is Cyberfrog going to be using new slang in the new in Blood Honey? Is he going to be saying things like savage, like lit, like, Fleek? I don't like Fleek. It reminds me too much of Fleet, and I don't like the fucking Navy. Okay, I got a real beef with the United States Navy. And you're like, Lindsay, that's really weird and specific. And I say, maybe you subscribe, and so you can find out the facts of this, solve that mystery, and then ultimately learn that I'm a liar. So, you know. But I don't know much new slang, to be honest. I feel like my slang compartment of my brain is at capacity. I will neither lose nor gain slang, and I don't know whether to be sad about that or just to make peace with it. You know what, I did call stuff clean like 8 years ago, but I feel like that clean is timeless. So we see he's been having a really bad day. He's had a run-in with Shockroach. We're going to be seeing Shockroach later, and wow, Shockroach looks like what the people in the scientific community call a doozy. So we see that a nightclub burst into flames right behind him, leaving him no choice but to rescue all those little pink things that came pouring out. You know, people. Cyberfrog, he's got a little bit of a Bender from Futurama attitude toward the meatbags. He doesn't like them, but when it comes down to it, he'll do the right thing. And that killer that's been in the news lately, well, if he's a 12-foot drooling insectoid thingy with severe BO, I feel like in the 90s it was a big deal to point out that someone had BO. We need to bring that back, because some of these motherfuckers fucking smell. Sometimes I'm in a Walmart and I'm like, I just smell a waft of piss. And I'm like, who smells like piss? And I just yell it in the store. I'm like, piss! And they're like, the bathroom's over there. And I'm like, nah, dude. Piss. It smells. How do you just... Does their whole house smell like piss so that they've grown immune to piss smells? Because this is very apparent. They should not be in public. Then I think, I found you. And then we see Deathfly over here. He's got a woman. And apparently Deathfly, he's been killing teenagers, which, I mean, look, you can't kill kids, and you can't typically kill adults, but you can kill hookers and teenagers, and the world won't even bat an eye. And he says, I knew I'd find you. You must be the hero that's going around, going to rescue the lady in distress. Just say, no, I don't care about the girl. See it? That's that classic Bender attitude. I'm just going to kill you so that Dan Rather will stop interrupting my TV programs with news flashes about your dumbass. Cyberfrog, he loves TV. He loves fried chicken and trash TV. You'll be dead, and I'll be happy. I may even use your scrawny bod as a windsock. Your future looks emptier than an arena at a Tito Jackson concert. Oh, Tito. Tito takes the brunt of a lot of Jackson jokes. I feel like up until like 2008, we were making Tito jokes still. And Deathfly, he's not into that. He just wants to be treated like a proper insectoid bug villain. What do I have the words, I'm a total idiot, tattooed on my back? Practically. Cyberfrog, stop. There's some serious shit happening here. And we see Heather, she's fearing for her life. But we also see that Deathfly, he's got some hellhounds in her... if you want to be a real villain, you're gonna need dogs. And I feel like a really understated choice is Dobermans. I know you're gonna want to choose a German Shepherd. Why? Because, you know, they're proven to be good as, you know, hellhound minions. I mean, they had World War II, they had the American Civil Rights movement, but you know what, I think let's give another breed another shot. So let's go with the Doberman. They got those big skulls and those little tiny ears. It looks weird, but I mean, they got those big ass teeth, and I mean, they use them in Resident Evil. So you know what, they're proven that they'll go the extra mile and turn into zombies. Or Las Plagas, I don't think they're in for. Either way, they're proven. And let's just can we get a moratorium on German Shepherds as evil dogs, and then Pit Bulls, of course, will just be shitty dogs in neighborhoods. Pit Bulls aren't bad dogs, they have bad owners. I know, I'm just, anytime you bring up dogs, bad dogs, and you don't mention Pit Bulls, it's like, what? But then when you do mention Pit Bulls, people lose their fucking minds. I'm just saying, typically shitty people have Pit Bulls. I'm not saying the Pit Bulls are shitty, I'm just saying shitty people typically have them for whatever reason. So, Cyberfrog, he starts just laying into him. He's throwing them around. He's handling these dogs like no fucking problem. And eventually they start getting the jump on him a little bit. And we see Deathfly. Deathfly's got a little bit of an incel type of attitude here. He's like, Heather Swan, all those who oppose me are doomed. No more will I be mocked and belittled. No, you'll always be mocked and belittled. Look at you. You don't look great, babe. You're going to be mocked. You're going to be belittled. Even as a giant 8-foot death fly, it's going to happen when you have that many teeth. You got too many teeth, you're going to get called out on it. And I don't know how you solve that, but that's the way it is. He said, a monster. One is always considered a monster when one discovers something that others can't grasp. What? Getting into some R.I.M. very smart right here. You can't possibly know the bounds of my hatred, Heather. And my genius knows none. Okay, we got a guy who thinks he's super smart, and yet he doesn't have a job or profession that would change the world. Why do all those people who are apparently the smartest people in the entire world, they have IQ smarter than Stephen Hawking, but they don't actually accomplish anything? Wonder what's up with that. So he's been killing teenagers. Oh, those kids were only the beginning. They opposed my genius. Oh, dude, I would have to assume real geniuses don't refer to themselves as genius or their genius. And I crushed them like puny ants. It's simple. With the help of my cursed amulet, I can rule the world. And then that prompts Heather to grab the amulet. I'm just going to say, pro tip from your boy Lindsey over here. I'm going to say, if you depend on a prop or a piece of jewelry or some sort of cream for your powers, you're going to want to downplay that. You're not going to want to point it out, because then you just put a target on whatever that item is. You know, I'm just saying. So, of course, she yanks it. She starts choking him, but she's not so good at choking. Cyberfrog hasn't taught her the proper way to choke, which, Heather, come on, there's nothing worse than wanting to get choked and then they just don't have the grip strength. It's just disappointing all around. So he says that Heather's being pitiful. He thinks you idolize Princess Leia a bit too much. So we see, yeah, EBS, he is the Star Wars fan that he proclaims himself to be. So, what happens? Okay, yeah, definitely have to show this. I don't think I've skipped any pages, but who cares? So he says, like, okay, I'll choke. So then he hawks up Heather's ex-boyfriend's hand, Eric Booga, which, how did he even survive elementary school with the last name Booga? I mean, come on. So he regurgitates the hand and says, what do you say? One last caress, which, Deathfly, that's a pretty good line. But then he smacks the shit out of Heather. She goes flying with the amulet in her hand. That's going to come back later. Cyberfrog grabs his arm in a surprise move and then just punches it off of his fucking body. We've got the hydraulic fluid of this guy just squirting everywhere. And Cyberfrog is like, holy shit, I've been really inhumane for a while. Somebody get me some Prozac, but it's cool because it leads into violence. And that's also very damn good. And then we learn, I have to show this because we learn a little bit about Cyberfrog's powers in every issue. But apparently, so the dogs, they scratched him up a little bit. I mean, they've ruined his shoulder bulbs. But you know what? These little scratches, well, they're as good as new. My self-repairing bod will see to that. I feel like he's got way too many powers. I mean, come on. He's got everything. He's got a bomb tongue. He's got the homing sense. He's got the rocket boots. He's got the super strength. And he can heal himself. Come on. And then they started getting in a fight. We see Cyberfrog here. He's doing almost, it's like a drop kick. It's like an upside down drop kick. I thought the only people who could do this were Shaolin monks high up in the mountains. But it's the Shaolin monks who can bend a spear with their throat. But apparently Cyberfrog, he possesses the technology. And he informs Deathfly of his name, and Deathfly's like, what? How come you don't get laughed at? I mean, Cyberfrog, objectively, it's a little wacky, it's a little kooky, but when we see the man in action dropping these kicks like this, you can have a bad name. You can have a bad or a gross name, but if you're fucking cool or you can do cool shit, elevated, and then you elevate the worth of your name. So, if you can do this, if you can do some Shaolin monk kicks and your name's Melvin, you're good. You're good. Don't even worry about it. But you're going to need to do this kick in every job interview or anytime you meet a new person ever. This is your first impression you need to make. Because Melvin, the name Melvin, you got a lot of ground to cover with that name. So, they start hearing some sirens, and he's like, oh, you know, we've created a little disturbance. Of course, the police are going to come. And so Cyberfrog asks him if he wants his limb back, and he gives it back to him in kind. That's just comedy gold right there. I mean, there's no other way to get around it. Cyberfrog, he jumps away with Heather. And we see this scene. It doesn't really matter, but I just want to show. We have these two guys who are like, well, hey, boss, this fucking giant frog, he ruined our operation. So this guy, he calls in this heavy named Barge, and he's like, look, we got to put our heads together on this one because there's a big frog roaming the streets. And he does so in an explosive fashion. And then we get to see Shockroach for the first time. Shockroach comes and is like, hey, I'll help you out with the Cyberfrog thing. And then we get a better look at Shockroach, which, Jesus fucking Christ, look at this thing. Oh, are those pincers? I didn't even realize. I thought this was a part of the back, but I think these are pincers. I mean, man, I bet shaving is really hard. But Shockroach comes and is like, look, we both have a Cyberfrog problem. Let's get it solved. And we cut back to Cyberfrog. He lives in an abandoned warehouse. And Heather is sleeping on his couch, which that's where he sleeps. And he's lamenting that. He's like, this bitch should be on the floor. I said, somebody saves my life. I'll sleep wherever they want me to sleep for that one night. But that's all you get. One night to tell me where to sleep. And then my debt is repaid. Even if I sleep on a king-size... oh, God, ruin that. King-size bed. You don't get to tell me where to sleep after that. And we see Deathfly. He's flying around. And we learn that he can't transform back into a human without the amulet, which, let's be honest, he was kind of, like, not really that good as a human. He's sort of crushing it as far as being a Deathfly. I mean, the body count's stacking up. He's got a new friend in Cyberfrog. So why even go back to being Benjamin Riley? Why? I mean, it's probably easier for errands. But I would make the argument that being a Deathfly, it's going to make people get out of your way. When you're a Deathfly, you don't have to wait in line. So, Osiris summons him down to hell, and he's like, yeah, I lost the amulet, but you know what, Osiris has got your back. He gives him a little bit of that Egyptian voodoo, turns him back into Ben Riley, but he gets to keep the appendages and the wings, because the wings are the best part about being a dragon, about being a Deathfly. And then it ends with, look, he looks even cooler. This is, if you gotta choose between being a human and a Deathfly, I feel like go straight up the middle. He could be in a crowd, and as long as nobody like looks at him too hard, they're not gonna notice. They're not gonna notice these huge wings and extra legs. Especially, dude, on Halloween, he's solid. He can go anywhere on Halloween. But then he vows to get back at Cyberfrog and to get back at that bitch Heather. So So I mean, yeah, I feel like this is probably the least good of the Cyberfrogs I've read, but still, I still love you, babe.